So what's happening here is part of that engine is behind the scenes with this campaign. Now, I've hovered over Sleek Fit 3 launch. So this is just an email campaign. It's very basic. It's exactly what you'd normally expect to see within our marketing solution. This is probably about 18 months ahead of anything that anyone else in the world has got at the moment. A lot of people talk about AI. Really, all they've just got is very good predictive engines. This is a true AI powered by machine learning. So if we hopefully try and wake Watson up, we can talk to him. Hey, Watson.
Hello. Would you like to learn more about Campaign Sleek Fit 3 launch?
Would I like to learn more about Campaign Sleek Fit 3 launch? I certainly would. He's already opened up in exactly the context of where I am. As I do this, and I'm going to try and do it really quick and respect your time and breaks and stuff, bear in mind that if this isn't perfectly seamless, no one's going to use it. It has to be as good as an assistant that's sat next to you. This is why the machine learning bit is so important. The companies that are already having the most success with this, we've got it rolled out to a few big companies at the moment, are the ones that are spending about $7 in tech, sorry, $7 in people for every $1 in tech. $7 in people for $1 in tech. And by people, that's agencies and partners as well. The companies we're seeing that don't have success in this type of technology, the ones that dump everything into tech, and it's a little bit of implementation and people afterwards. So that ratio seems consistent across the industry, 7 to 1. So, and a lot of that, in this case, is machine learning to try and get Watson up to speed. So, yes, how does this drop compare to all of the campaigns in the past year?
I do not know what drop means.
Of course you don't. When I was at Adobe, campaign was referred to Neolane when that was all rebadged, and I've always called an email campaign a drop. So we've got to try and show Watson exactly what that means. So every single team, every individual, every group, every agency is going to use different language, different slang, different phrases. You train Watson, so whenever you log in, he knows exactly what type of language you like to use, just like an assistant would when you're training on the job. Drop is the same as campaign.
Okay, got it.
So how does this drop compare to all campaigns over the past year?
This campaign is ranked 238 out of 250 campaigns over the past year.
A couple of things have happened there. First of all, we had a gut feeling that this was wrong. We didn't know why. Executives make decisions with their hearts, not with their heads. We had a gut feeling, but we didn't know why, so we couldn't actually go into the data and try and figure it out, which is why we've just got to ask, using natural language to try and figure out what the route might be. So, something else has happened. I said, how does this drop compare? This. You guys know what that means because you're all human. The computer doesn't. If you look at AI, machine learning, intelligence, this is often a very complicated thing for a computer to understand what you're actually referring to. And Watson's seen straight away, I'm referring to this campaign that we've already opened up. But what he's also done is just said, your feeling's right. This campaign is ranked 238 out of 250. It's not good. We know that something bad's happening. Someone's trusted us with their email address. We don't want to piss them off. We want to give them the best experience possible. But what we can't afford to do is bounce backwards and forwards to agencies and data scientists, backwards and forwards to segment the audiences and figure out the problem. This is why we've got to try and fix it as quickly as possible. Now, what he's also done is, if you just see behind here, each campaign had 273,000 records. Across 250 campaigns, that's 62.5 million records. He's searching in a couple of seconds to see every single one you've ever sent, and he's looking at them all to try and figure out why. And he's saying that this one isn't performing very well. So why isn't it performing very well? What metrics did you use to calculate this?
Here are the metrics used.
So exactly what you'd expect to see. In 2017, there's about 525 different marketing metrics you can measure. He's shown that these are the metrics he's using, which is exactly what an email marketer would expect to see. Click-through rate is okay. Our open rate's terrible. It should be 5%. This is 0.5%. Like I said, this is a massive data set that we're trying to play with. This is live. This is available today to any customer that wants it. It's not all smoke and mirrors, sketchy stuff to try and wow you. This is really badass, isn't it? This should be like a round of applause after every interaction. It's freaking awesome. So there's something wrong with it, but we need to figure out, is this something that's going to fix itself? Like it's an anomaly that's just a spike, or is it something that's going to trend down and going to cause us a huge problem? So we can just ask him. How is it trending?
The performance rank of this campaign is trending down.
Okay, so it's not going to fix itself. We need to do something with it. I've got a feeling it's probably the subject line. Now, going forward, Watson could actually help to construct the subject line itself. We could get into that later on as well, but this has all been a manual campaign. And we've got to try and figure out what is it that's gone wrong? Now, we know that people make decisions with their hearts, right? They look at a subject line in half a second, they decide in 1.5 seconds whether or not to click on it. I think that the subject line probably just isn't emotional enough. It's probably too transactional, which is a lot of emails are, and it's all kind of this very discount-driven thing. So let's have a look. Watson, what is the subject line for this campaign?
The subject line is, "Don't let your health skip a beat. Get Sleek Fit 3."
And what is the sentiment of the subject line for this campaign?
This subject line has a negative sentiment score.
62.5 million emails, sentiment analytics on everyone, minus 60% sentiment, something's clearly wrong, we need to do something with it, so we need to try and fix it. This is going to take about another 3 minutes, and then I'll leave you alone with your heads exploding. Minus 60%, well, how do we fix that? Okay. Take the emails for the past year with the highest open rate and analyze the subject line sentiment.
Here are the sentiment scores for the top 3 mailings with the highest open rates and the bottom 3 mailings with the lowest open rates.
So that's all of our best campaigns. We can see there we've got 88% positive sentiment for the future is now a Sleek Fit 2. We can see all the worst campaigns there. We could scroll all the way down, 62 million records. So now we can fix it pretty quick, even if it's just based upon knowing the one that works, and our creative team can go in and craft something even better later on. But we know that we need to fix it pretty quick to start with. Watson, what is the sentiment of "The future is amazing with Sleek Fit 3"?
The sentiment for this is positive.
80.5% positive. So we know for this audience, that's most likely to work. It's going to have a positive interaction. So let's look at changing that. Okay, hopefully this is where he has to do all the hard work. Modify this campaign subject line to "The future is amazing with Sleek Fit 3".
The campaign subject line has been modified. Would you like to see this mailing template?
So that's pretty much done, right? We've understood what it is. We've changed it from minus 60 to plus 80% positive. That's awesome. We found the problem. This is super, super quick. I showed one of the biggest agencies we work with in the world this, and they said what you do in about 15 minutes sometimes takes us 30 days to fix. And they were like looking at the future of what does that free people up to go and do something even more interesting later on, provide more meaningful customer experiences instead of getting bogged down with all the automated stuff. So this is where we'd feed it back and say, just go ahead and fix it. We don't even need to do that, do we? Just get Watson to do it. Yes, of course I would. Now, we haven't done the full demo, so I haven't shown you the whole thing, but we've seen the subject line's been changed. What you will have seen for 100 million customers, every single person has a completely unique experience. They have a different product with a different color and a different image because Watson's automatically tagged every single one. We've changed the subject line. We've got the right ones that we know have got the highest propensity for people to click on. And obviously that feeds back into the analytics, et cetera, et cetera. It's pretty badass, isn't it? So you guys can get access to this. This is all completely open source. It's one of the things I love about IBM. We just give people cool stuff to mess with. Go and play with it. Go on ibm.com/Watson. Give it to your developers. All of those APIs that are available, because Watson's basically just a big platform full of APIs that you plug stuff into, and just mess with it. Figure out how to get Alexa-style experiences within whatever app, mobile responsive site, customer service, voice to text to figure out all the things that are going wrong in real time. Pretty awesome.